We're back on the F-250 project. As you guys saw the other day, we had a relay. This one right here, which I had to modify a little bit, which sat, this is actually backwards, so she sat right here, and you had to push on this relay in order to get the truck to start and get your gauges working and everything. And so we decided to take apart this forward fuse box and see what we can come up with. So once you take a picture of the fuse box with all the relays and fuses in position, so you have a reference. Now I'll show you on this one, but this one's already popped loose. You just walk your way around and pop this cover off. All of these connectors in here are removable, so you can take a little fuse and kind of stick it in and tweak it a little bit, and these will come out. Now, as best I can tell, and they go, just to put it right back in, best I can tell, every one of these, even the areas where the missing fuses are, you can see, and I'll show a close-up with a light in just a second, that all the same contacts, the male contacts that these connectors engage, are coming from the back. So, and of course this right here is where your gym or body module plugs into, and we'll get into that. I have a video on wiring dual fuel tanks that has a little bit of information, and it has how to get this fuse box out of the dashboard, and at the end of the video we should have a segment on getting it back in. But the guts of the matter for today is just to get these, take this apart and see what is going on in here. But before I do that, I had a spare fuse box out of an Excursion, which was much more loaded than this truck is. So we have several fuses, but what I want to do is the fuses here are for some options in the truck that the F-250 doesn't have. So we're going to remove all of these fuses. I've already taken a picture of this just so I have it in case I need it. And we're going to rearrange the connectors to basically clone this box onto this box. And it has the same connectors on the back for the gym and for your two big plugs that come out of the harness. So we're going to do that, clone this so that we have a fuse box that doesn't have a damn short in it causing trouble, so we can use this in the gym and the truck. And then I think we're going to disassemble the innards of this and see why we were losing connection. This is where the relay sat, and I was using some probes and whatnot to check out the the connectivity of these females to the male that's down in the hole. And we'll get a little bit more into detail in that in just a minute. Okay, excuse the light here, but I'm going to try and get in here where you can see. Where's the angle that I had for this a minute ago? Look into these two holes here. And you should be able to see the spade connectors that are down in the bottom. You'll see more about that in a minute, but there are spade connectors in each hole. And I'll put this back down. And these female connectors are removable. So the basic framework of the fuse box, from the two plugs coming from the wiring harness and the gym, are all here. But depending on which fuse box you have is going to determine which females that they put in to allow you to have a fuse here and not have a fuse here, depending on whether you have air conditioner, power locks, brake, whatever options the vehicle came with, going to require different fuse locations. So we're going to, like I said, clone this one so we have a backup with the Excursion one, and then we're going to disassemble this one and see if we can figure out why it was what was going wrong with it, and what possibly could be fixed to salvage this fuse box for another project. Okay, so we took a photo with our phone, so we have this, and I've already pretty much loosened up all of these relays and some of the fuses. So we're just going to pop them out. Again, we took pictures of them, so and it's a good idea on stuff like this to take several pictures of different aspects as you're going, just so you have a reference should things get confusing on the way back. And if you look at the video on the dual fuel tank wiring, you'll see all the damn trouble we had, which we thought was internal in the fuse box. But just to give you a little recap on that, if you're doing an engine swap or something and you want to try and crank it and test run anything to make sure you got everything correct, if you have any of the sensors unplugged, they do share some common grounds. So if you have any sensors that are not plugged, it can cause havoc with other sensors and make you think you got more problems than you do. So what I do on these, down the perimeter you can see some little notches. So if you just kind of get your flathead screwdriver in there and release it and walk it up, this will come off. Alright, we got that out the way. So now, as you can see, we've got quite a bit more pins. So we just need to match this with this. As you can see down in the hole there, there, and there are connectors in each hole. So we're just going to move these around and clone that one. Okay, so we're going to just go row by row. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4, so this one needs to move up. I'm going to leave it up just so I know things that I've moved already. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip 2, and then we'll have 2. So these 2 can come out. I'm going to put these over here and save them. What I'm doing is sticking this flat end of this probe in there and twisting it like a screwdriver, like trying to tighten a screwdriver. And it puts it in a bind and it pulls it off of the spade that's deeper in there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2, 5, 6. Skip 2. All right, that's good. Okay, so we need 1 at the top. So we're going to pull this. I'm just going ahead and pulling this out because I want to double check something. If I can get this rascal to come out of here. Okay, just so you can see, the flat bar right here is going to the outside or the left or the right of the hole. Something I spotted, I just wanted to double check. Okay, so we're going to skip 2. So I'm going to pull this one here. Some of these rascals don't look like they want to come out. Which technically I can leave them in because I don't need them. I'm just trying to fix it to be an exact clone of the other one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 2, and it looks like I pulled the wrong doggone ones. No one of these came out easier. Alright. Alright, we're going to put you... And they look to be the same top and bottom. And we'll just kind of make sure as you go through these, orientate them the right way. And if you spread them out any, try and make sure that they're going to have a good tight connection on the pins. Okay, this last one is not needed. Okay. And 1, 2. Alright, so I don't need number 4. Here. Hope I'm not blocking the camera angle too bad. Working inside today, we had a little dose of Canadian humidity come down to South Louisiana. And it's got a pretty good of a mess outside, and it's still a little bit cold. Alright, 1, skip 2. Alright. So then we need... Again, we may have to come back and double check some of these to make sure that we didn't open up any of the contacts. We'll make sure all the fuses have good contacts. Alright, so we're going to lock all of these in all the way down. It's just spade terminals, top and bottom. Alright, so now we got a clone. I don't need these. I don't know if these are going to come out. Yep, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and... This relay is not used on some of these trucks. So, just pulling these out is a good way to keep yourself from sticking the wrong thing in the wrong hole, because if you take the contacts out, not that that's going to make any difference, but as far as using it or not using it, but it won't make contact. Alright, there's our clone. So this box should be good. We will lay the relays and fuses in based on our picture of how this box started out, and we're going to set up and tear into this one and see what kind of issues we got here once we get this one back together. Alright, before we go tearing into the other one, we've got all of these in, and this is our clone box. We're gonna see if we can snap our cover back on here. Alrighty, we're gonna put our fuses and relays back in. Let me see something here. Yeah, okay, so we had all 3 of these. Now I'm going to take the fuses that came out of this box, with the exception of one relay that I have a doubt on. I'm going to get all these fuses back here. I eyeballed them. Everything looked good. I didn't ohm them out. But we're going to put them in and then basically get this one wrapped up as our clone box. So here we go. Let's see, I need a 20. And a 10. I had all of these laid out. Whoops. Ready to go. One of the cats got up here and did a little shuffling for me. There's a 20. Another 10. You can also look in these holes now that we've done our clone situation and see that we have all right, that's 5s. You can see that if you look in there, you don't see the female clip. So I'm going to get these popped back in here and we'll pick up from there. Alright, so we got all of our fuses in and our cloning should be complete. So we're going to take the gem module and it's going to plug in like that, and we're going to pop in on 3 Torx screws, run them up, and we can test run this in the truck, see if that solved our problem. And I want to look into possibly opening that other one up. And if for nothing else, to have it as parts. Because if it's going to be acting funny, it doesn't really do me any good to keep it as is. Alright, so our 2 wiring harness plugs with the 10mm head bolts go in here. The side plugs are going to go in here, and then she'll bolt back into the hole. So let's see what she does. Okay guys, just to follow up on that fuel tank wiring. These little devices right here are awesome. It's an adder circuit. So you remove a fuse, put it in the bottom slot. Let me get that. Remove a fuse, put it in the bottom slot, and then add your fuse for the device you're adding to the top slot. And then you can pop it back in. And it allows you to add a circuit without jamming other things into the fuse box, which I'll show you in a minute. So we're getting our power over to our fuel tank selector switch from the adder circuit. We're grounded right here to a truck ground. So only thing going into the dash from the back is the power circuits. So what we ended up doing to not cut into the dash is we have 2 different harnesses here. Okay, one of them is the single tank 7.3 harness, and the other one is the dual tank harness that came off of this truck, which we filleted out of the other one. So we come power to the switch valve, which is underneath here for the fuel tank selector switch valve, and then we're feeding our signal and ground from the 2 sending units back into the 7.3 wiring, which is already set up to go to the dash, so we don't have to hook it up. So that just kind of wraps up what's what with that. I know it's a little bit of a inconsistent video, but that's all we could do with the tail chasing and all of this. You know, like I said, without having these tanks plugged in, the ground that the sending unit provides was actually messing with the grounds for the gauges, and that's what that was actually causing our problem. Just try the adder circuit. That way it's a lot easier than damaging your fuse box slots by jamming wire in there, and I'll show you an example of that here in just a second. Okay guys, here's an example of what not to do, which is just shoving wire in with the fuse. These fuse contacts, as you can see, fit tightly to the prongs. So even though that will work and you can jam them in there with the fuse, it's going to stretch it out. So you're going to damage it and have to come back and redo it at some future point. So stay away from cramming wires into the fuse box. Use that adder circuit we just showed you.